Hi, I'm Alex McKinnon, the founder and CEO of Kinn, and I am exceptionally excited today to be here with a very special guest who we know you're going to love. And I'd like to introduce you to Liana Torres Rosario. And she, amongst other things, is a professional dog trainer for Fieldstone Animal Inn in Maryland. And she's going to be basically educating us on enrichment curriculum for dog training that not only achieves the all-important goal of full dog engagement, but she's also going to show it so that it's far easier for you to achieve success using the Kinn Kleanbowl. And before she reveals her magic to you, we're going to start off with a few questions, and then we'll get into her magic. So thank you again for being here today, Liana, and your special friend, Diego. He
Absolutely.
looks very cool. We're happy to have Diego here as well. And the first question is, what was the problem you were trying to solve when you discovered Kinn Kleanbowl?
Yeah, so I also do group classes at Fieldstone. So sometimes we need extra treats sometimes for the parents if the treat that they brought to class wasn't working. And also I needed something that helped the pet parents deliver rewards faster to the dogs, just to get good with our rate of reinforcement to make sure that the dog is getting the reward within a timely manner that the dog understands cause and effect. And then also easier for me to clean up afterwards because sometimes it can get a little busy. So definitely having something that was easy to put away and also recyclable, which I'm a big fan of, was really important.
Could you tell us just in a little bit more detail how specifically Kinn Kleanbowl was instrumental in solving the problems you just described?
Absolutely. So I found that a lot of the dogs like peanut butter. So peanut butter is usually one of my go-tos when it comes to training, but I needed somewhere to put the peanut butter. And I started with spoons, the metal spoons that we had, and it was just a hassle to clean. Sometimes we ran out of the peanut butter too quickly. What I did, I grabbed the small size of the Kinn bowls and I put peanut butter around the inside, and I would freeze them so that they lasted a bit longer when we'd be in class, because sometimes we got the big dogs coming in and they eat it up like no problem. So freezing it also was really easy. He's ready to go. So definitely using this as a training tool and as a reward in the class made it super easy. And again, at the end of the class, even easier for me to go around, get them from the owners or just pick them up after class, and getting to recycle them was such a time saver for me as well.
Well, since you are part of a bigger team, what do you hear your colleagues at pet care facilities saying about Kinn Kleanbowl?
Well, one, we do have a lot of earth lovers at the job. We have a lot of people interested in recycling. So the fact that this is biodegradable, recyclable, they were really big fans of that. And again, same with me, they love how easy the cleanup is, especially around the holidays when we have lots of dogs. It makes it super easy. And we also do have dogs that, tend to shred. It's a natural behavior. So with the Kleanbowl, it made it so much easier for us to clean that up without having to pick up shreds, because it's a bit hard for them to get to the bowl when the Kleanbowl's on. So that definitely helped them out a lot, especially the dogs that like to eat everything. That definitely helped with that too. But yeah, they love the cleanup process because we do a lot of cleaning. Dogs are dirty, so the cleaning really does help them.
And what would you tell another pet care services pro why they should make trying Kinn Kleanbowl a priority for them?
Well, for one, it's just great. Everything about it, the things that it's made out of, again, just the benefit of it being recyclable, biodegradable, all that's really good. And it's not too harmful if the dogs try to chew on it. And because it is a pretty solid bowl, like it takes me a bit if I wanted to tear it. So it takes the dogs a bit more. But again, cleaning up the process is so much easier. The amount of, I would say, even hours spent a week cleaning dog bowls at a daycare facility. And sometimes there are things left behind, and making sure that the dogs are getting a clean plate every time is super important. You never want leftover bacteria from the other dog in case it didn't get cleaned thoroughly, especially with if you're using plastic. plastic can actually store bacteria if it's getting heated up. So this, giving them a clean slate every time they eat, I think is really important and should be a priority at facilities.
And anything else that you'd like to share to help folks to have their best experience with the Kinn Kleanbowl?
Yeah, I mean, there's so much, honestly, there's so much that you can do with the Kinn Kleanbowl. I love it because there's also other things to do with it. You can play hide and seek games. I know this is to cover the bowl, but there's so many different ways you can do it. You can flip it over and you can put the bowl like this, put it on the ground and have your dog go crazy. I have shredders at home. This one especially loves to shred bowls, and just getting to shred it up and having no problem picking it up and putting it in the recycle is just another great thing about it. There's honestly endless possibilities, but I think it would just be great to have more people on, the side of keeping things clean in the facility, making sure the dogs are getting top quality, because this is a very quality bowl. When I first came to Fieldstone, and this is when I first saw the Kinn Kleanbowl, I was like, wow, this is really quality. And I picked this up and it's nice and sturdy. It's not like those flimsy, bowl that you get at like Walmart. It's really good quality.
And now it would be great if Leanna, in her own way, and she's a real pro, could explain a little bit more about Kinn Kleanbowl and actually demo some of her exercises, which are a great enrichment curriculum for any dog boarding and daycare facility, and obviously for those that focus on training.
Yeah, absolutely. One of my favorite things to do with the Kinn Kleanbowl is a leave it exercise. So go ahead. So for the leave it exercise, I like to have a nice open area, especially when I'm teaching this in group classes. We have big dogs that come in. Sometimes they don't know their size, how big their feet are and all that. So making sure that we have something nice and sturdy to hold the bowl down can also be really important, because then we just end up with a huge mess, right? So having it nice, go. And for the leave it exercise, I like to make it as realistic as possible. I will not take credit for this exercise, but it's definitely one that I do rely on, and I love it because it's super easy to teach pet parents as well. I like to have a bowl right there. I got my pup. All right. Bring him over here. I grab a bit of the food, nice enough. I want to make sure he can see it, he can smell it, but I don't want to let him get to it. So I let him pull, pull, pull. I say, Diego, leave it. Good boy. Diego, leave it. Yes, good job. Nice and calmly asking the dog to leave it. Diego, leave it. Diego, yes, good boy. Marking the behavior when he decides to leave the food alone. Diego, leave it. Diego, leave it. Yes, good boy. The moment the puppy decides to re-engage with me, make sure I mark it and I reward it. Diego, leave it. Yes, good boy. Very nice. And then I want to get to the point where the dog completely ignores. Diego, leave it. Diego, leave it. And you can repeat it as many times as need be, because that's how dogs learn. They learn through repetition, right? Diego, leave it. Good job, buddy. Very nice. Very good. Good job, buddy. Leave it. Diego, leave it. Yes, that's a good boy. All right. And then when we're ready to give the dog the reward, we pick it up, ask for a behavior, down. Yes, go ahead, buddy. Good job. And that's just one of my really easy, quick little exercises to teach leave it. It's realistic, right? When you're out on a walk, the dog's already going to see it before we do. They got stronger noses than we do, right? So they're already going to be smelling. God forbid, there's a turkey breast on the floor. There's always things that our dogs are trying to pick up on the ground. So they're already going to be pulling. But when we're able to let them pull, but simply say, leave it, and they come back to us, makes it so much easier to continue to walk. And then as they get better at it, you can use it in other circumstances, like a person, a dog, a squirrel. Buddy, leave it, right? Real nice and easy, and not too complicated. And it's something that my pet parents find really easy to do. So that's one of my favorite exercises with the Kinn Kleanbowl.
What would be another exercise you think would be interesting for the audience? I think you talked one time about wait before eating, or is that similar to what you just did?
Yeah, it's similar. It's similar, not completely, but this one's very easy. Again, we have lots of dogs that like to knock the food over. Oh, he's already, oh, well, he got some freebies. So. Alrighty, buddy. Okay, so we got our bowl, we got our food, and we got our pup. So this is an impulse exercise. So I like to start off with my dog over here. Come on, buddy. You sit, good job, or down, whichever one you want. Alrighty, so I have my bowl here. If the dog comes forward as I'm putting the bowl down, I bring it back up, okay? And the dog's going to start to understand, okay, well, every single time I approach the bowl goes away. And what the dog wants is for the bowl to go down. That's the reward because they get to eat, okay? So we keep, and it takes repetition. That's really important. Again, dogs learn through repetition, okay? So even if I see that head move toward, he's offering behaviors that he knows. So that's why you see him going up and down. Put it down, up, not yet. Take it back up. I want to make sure the dog is completely desensitized to wherever the bowl is. Doesn't matter where it goes. If I don't give you the release cue, you don't go and get the food just yet. So I go ahead and I move it around a few times. Okay. Good boy, go ahead. Really simple exercise, okay? Yeah, and so this is something, you don't have to put a cue to it. If you want it to be an automatic response, right? You put the dog's food down, doesn't matter how excited they are, how ready they are to eat. They know that no matter however you put that food bowl down, they have to wait for your release command. And you can put a cue to it if you want. You can say, wait, before you even put a foot down, you say, wait, put it down, okay, and let them go. Yeah, there's nothing in there.
That's great. Diego's very good at this.
Yes, yes, we do lots of training.
And which exercise would you like to show the audience next?
One of my favorite exercises, which is kind of how I first got into using the Kinn Bowl during my group classes, is teaching them how to walk nicely. And we do this with a bit of luring, which is another way that I use the Kinn Kleanbowl. So we can go ahead and start with a walking exercise. And the reason I use the Kinn Kleanbowl instead of like my treat pouches, I use the Kinn Kleanbowl because in training, we do need to have a good amount, we do need to make sure that the time that we're reinforcing the dog is on point, right? We need to make sure that when we're reinforcing the dog is at the right moment, not 10 seconds later. And sometimes when we're holding the leash, our poop bags, our treat pouch, our clicker, it can be overwhelming. So making sure that we have something ready to go that we can simply show the dog, they get a reward, it makes it a lot easier. So that's why I like to use the Kinn Kleanbowl for this exercise. So I start off with my dog and I use the Kinn Kleanbowl. It's a constant reward. There you go, buddy. Lure them into the position I want them to walk on, right? And to start, we start with the dog, come on. We start with the dog getting a constant reward, right? Good job, buddy, good job, right? So that's one way to teach them how to walk nicely next to you. Next way, we can start by giving rewards every now and then. Take one step, yes, and reward. One step, yes, and reward. We do a turn, follow nicely, yes, reward. Good job. That's good. Yes, very nicely. Yes. So you can see how if I had my treat pouch, I'm holding the leash, trying to make sure I mark the moment he sits down next to me can be a little bit tough because I'm like, oh yes, you know, and I'm scrambling to get all my stuff. But the Kinn Bowl makes it so easy to just quickly deliver that treat or that reward.
Do you have any more tricks in your bag?
Absolutely, absolutely. We could be here all day. We could be here all day. The other one that I like to talk about is recall. Recall is one of my favorite things to teach because it's super easy. The harder part is just to maintain it, making sure we have nice big rewards for the dogs. So I'll go ahead and let him off the leash. All right, this is when I do have my treat pouch. But what we're gonna do with this exercise, we're gonna call the dog off. We're gonna have a little piece of food. This is the high value reward. Peanut butter is very high value. And then we have boring kibble, right? We have the boring treats. So I get the dog's attention. What do I got? Go get it. I let him go get it. Diego, come. Yes, good. Boy, big reward, right? So it's more rewarding to come to us than to stay there, right? The kibble is to get the dog to move away from us, and this is to get the dog motivated to come back to us, okay? And this is just an introduction to recall. There's so much more that goes into it, but this is a quick, easy way to introduce new puppies, even just new dogs in the home, to understanding when you say come, they come and they get rewarded for it, okay? What I got? Ready? Go get it. Diego, come. Good boy, big reward, good job, lots of praise. And the second best part about this, when you're teaching recall, you want to get the dog used to being touched around the collar, okay? And the reason is because, you know, when you are using recall sometimes can become an emergency situation. Your dog is running towards something that could be potentially dangerous. We want to be able to call them to us and grab the collar, right? So that's really important. So this will give them a continuous reward as we get to touch the collar, right? Go get it. Diego, come. Good boy. And I'm touching the collar, right? Because sometimes dogs aren't desensitized to that, so they'll duck, right? And then they get away from us. We want to get them used to that and have a good association with us grabbing the collar, okay? And then as they get better with this exercise, Diego, go get it. You can get fancy with it as they're coming, use your bowl and into a sit, right? That's what we want, nice, pretty sits. Good boy. Okay, all done.
Awesome. Well, Kate, I know you've probably been saving, I think you said you may have one other very interesting exercise you'd love to share.
Yes, and I've shown it just a little bit, just there I did it with a sit, but there's so many different positions that you can teach your dog to do with this constant reinforcer, right? Because he's getting to lick it the entire time. So it helps when you're it helps when you're using it for luring. Luring is really easy, and it's one of the easiest ways to teach dogs behaviors because you can put things on cue. Just grabbing a fresh bowl, right? So if we're teaching a sit, right? Well, we'll start with the down since he's already in a sit. Okay, so if we're teaching a down, we want to think 1, 2, 3, 4. Request, lure, response, reward. That's how we put things on cue, right? So if I say Diego down, I get the bowl and I get to lure him down to the ground and he's getting a constant reward. Then I can reward the dog for duration as well. The longer you stay in the down position, the longer you get the reward. So then they learn the stay, okay? Then you can lure them into the sit. Very good. Then you can lure them into a stand. Very good. You can also lure them into heel positions. Very nice. Very nice. Go from the left to the right side. Very good. You can even get fancy. See if they'll go down the middle. Very good. And into a down. Back into a sit. Back to the left. Very easy. Just so much that you can do with this. And it's so easy to use because it's that constant reinforcer, keeping the dog engaged with the reward. When we're using our treats, we have to be there with the reward, right? And sometimes they can kind of fall off. In the moment that we're getting the reward, they're like, oh, that's it. And then they walk off and then we lost them. So this helps keep them engaged with you when you're doing these exercises.
Well, you've done a fabulous job, Liana. And just, I guess, one last question in terms of the enrichment curriculum and the exercises that you shared today and Kinn Kleanbowl. Do you have any final closing remarks?
I just say that it has made my job so much easier. And I cannot thank you enough for starting this business and bringing this to life. It has made a huge difference in the time that it takes me to prepare for my classes. My clients love the idea and they even take it home. So it just makes it so easy to get people involved. And it really does help owners when they find things to be easier for them and they're really able to see, success happen and progress in the dogs. It really does make a difference, but it's all possible because Kinnbowl has made it easier for them to do these exercises.
Well, thank you so much, Liana. You've done a fabulous job.
Yeah, absolutely.
And thank you, Diego.
Bye-bye.